I was reading the New York Times Book Review one Sunday, and there was a review of a new translation of the Aeneid, Virgil's epic, about a man whose mission is to found Rome. He leaves Troy, which is a disaster. You know, this whole city is destroyed, and then he founds Rome, which is going to be an empire and destroy a lot more cities. So that's an interesting, like, why would you leave Troy and found Rome? It's always been an interesting question. In the middle, he goes to Carthage, and he falls in love with a woman who is a queen and who's building a new city. And there's this idea of, oh, a different city that's not involved in war and destruction and empire, that's involved in the arts and commerce, and a man and woman would rule as equals. But no. He has to leave her to fulfill his mission. That's the old epic from so long ago it should be out of date, but it's, of course, not. Anyway, I was reading this book review, which was praising this new translation by Fitzgerald. It is exquisite, and it's zeroed in on the place where Aeneas goes to the underworld to look for his father. And he meets Dido, who he's startled to realize that after he abruptly left her to fulfill his mission, she had killed herself. And he says to her, "I couldn't believe I would hurt you so terribly by going." And I remember sitting there, it was Sunday morning, and I thought, how could a sensitive, intelligent man not know the effects of his action on someone who he really loved? You know, he was deeply involved with. And then I thought, how crazy for a woman in that situation where you feel somebody's deeply connected with you and loves you and acts as if there was no connection. And I thought, Virgil was however many hundred years ago. I thought, but this is very contemporary. This story goes on and on. So out of that came the characters, Kyra and Andreas. She's an architect building a city. He's carrying the household gods. He's carrying from Europe of the 20th century, and he's directing operas. He's a musician and a theater director. So they meet, and they've each had huge losses that are part of that history that's still going on, of people whose lives have been shattered by political conflict and war. It goes on all the time. So they're not planning to fall in love, and the two of them fall in love with each other, because you can just see these two are going to be obviously attracted to each other. So that's how the novel starts. And then, because I'm writing about a contemporary woman, I mean, she doesn't commit suicide like Virgil's Dido. I mean, but what happens when he leaves her is she does feel what's happened to her sense of reality. So she's a modern woman, she goes into therapy. So the whole second part of the novel, there are new characters. Greta, the therapist, comes in, and Roya, her friend who's an architect. Anyway, I was not planning to write a novel. And out of that came this novel, Kyra, which was amazing to write because it took me into just incredible worlds, including the world of architecture.